All right, let's get right into it. If you're a candidate gunning for an elite Navy contract, you already know that just passing the physical screening test, or PST, well, it isn't going to cut it. This is for you, the person who needs to bridge that gap from just passing to putting up undeniably competitive scores. Let's break down how you're going to do that. Okay, so let's be crystal clear about what we're aiming for here. You see those numbers on the left, the minimum scores? That gets your foot in the door. But hey, we're not training to just squeak by. We are training for the numbers on the right, the competitive scores. That column, that's what gets you a contract. And the difference between the two isn't just about trying harder, it's about a completely different strategy. You know, we've all been told that pain equals progress, right? That you have to train to absolute failure to get stronger. But if you've hit a wall, if your numbers just aren't moving, I'm willing to bet it's your strategy that's the problem, not your effort. Constantly chasing that feeling of exhaustion is exactly what's keeping you stuck. So it's time to totally rethink the approach. And we're going to start with a method that focuses more on your brain than your biceps. So, how do we do it? We're going to use a time-tested Soviet-era method called Grease the Groove. This is a real game changer because its goal isn't to destroy your muscles. The focus is completely different. It's all about upgrading your nervous system. The whole idea behind Grease the Groove, or GTG, is actually pretty simple. You are not trying to get tired. You're not chasing muscle fatigue at all. The goal is to teach your central nervous system how to perform a movement, like a perfect push-up or a clean pull-up, with flawless, repeatable efficiency. You're treating it like a skill you have to practice, not just a muscle you have to break down. And this right here, this shows you just how much GTG flips conventional training on its head. On the left, you've got the old way, high intensity, low frequency, always training to failure. But on the right, you have the GTG method, low intensity, high frequency, and this is key, never training to failure. Think of it like this. Your nerves are like a faint trail in the woods. Chasing fatigue is like trying to bulldoze that trail once a week. It's just messy and exhausting. GTG is like walking that same trail calmly dozens of times a day. Pretty soon, it's not a trail anymore. It's a paved neural superhighway. The signal just flies down the path, no resistance. To really get why this is so effective for these kinds of fitness tests, you have to completely rethink what fatigue actually is. See, it's not just your muscles giving out. It's your brain slamming on the emergency brake. This is the one rule you absolutely cannot break. It's non-negotiable. Your set is over the second your form breaks down. The very instant your hips sag or your rhythm gets shaky. Why? Because every single sloppy rep is just practice. You're literally teaching your body how to perform the movement incorrectly, which is just practicing how to get injured. Quality over quantity, every single time. And here's a really simple way to check your form. Just imagine a broomstick is laid flat along your spine. At all times, it has to touch 3 points: the back of your head, your upper back, and your glutes. If it loses contact with any of those points, even for a second, your form has broken. The set is over. And this isn't just about avoiding injury. Remember, your nervous system learns whatever you repeat. So practicing fresh, perfect reps is what builds those clean, efficient neural pathways we're after. Okay, enough theory. Let's get into the practical side of things. This is not some random do 100 push-ups a day challenge. No, this is a structured 2-week cycle designed for sustainable, long-term progress without the burnout that sidelines so many candidates. The cycle itself is incredibly simple but very powerful. First, you test your 1-set max with perfect form. Then, you take 50% of that number. For 6 straight days, you'll do multiple, easy sets of that number spread far apart throughout the day. Day 7 is complete rest. Don't skip it. That's when your nervous system actually makes the upgrades. Then on day 8, you retest, get your new max, and repeat the cycle. The whole system is built on one idea. Every single set has to feel easy. So let's walk through a quick example. Let's say you test yourself, and with perfect form, you can knock out a maximum of 60 push-ups in 1 set. Your working number is half of that, 30 reps. So for the next 6 days, you're going to do many sets of 30 perfect push-ups. Maybe a set in the morning, another one midday, one in the evening, always fresh. You should end each set feeling like you could immediately do another 30. That's the sweet spot. And the same logic works for pull-ups. If your max is 12, your training sets are 6 perfect reps. Now, to get the absolute most out of every single rep, we need to talk about tension. There's a technique that can turn your body from just a bunch of moving parts into one solid, powerful machine. It eliminates all those little energy leaks and makes you instantly stronger. So before you even start a rep, I want you to activate 3 tension points all at the same time. Number 1, your hands. Grip the floor like you're trying to twist it apart. Number 2, your core. Brace your stomach like you're about to take a punch. And number 3, your glutes. Squeeze them as hard as you possibly can. You hold that full body tension from the start of the rep all the way to the finish. This forces your body to work as one connected unit. Look, this method is incredibly powerful, but it requires a very specific mindset to work for the long haul. Remember, sustainable development is always going to be short-term intensity spikes, every single time. So here's what you need to watch out for. The biggest enemy of this whole program is your own ego. When the sets start to feel easy, your ego's going to scream at you to do more, to chase that burn. You have to ignore it. The other enemies, skipping rest days and letting your form get sloppy. Easy is the entire point. When you train without all that strain, you're teaching your brain that the movement is safe, which stops it from hitting that emergency brake we were talking about earlier. And finally, building a powerful machine means building a balanced one. The PST tests your pushing strength with push-ups, right? But if you just hammer out push-ups every single day without balancing that volume with pulling movements like rows, well, you are on the fast track to shoulder imbalances and injuries like tendinitis. A professional prepares the entire machine, not just the parts that are on the test. I want you to let this sink in for a second. Your muscles can almost always do more. It's your brain that pulls that emergency brake when it senses chaos, when it senses sloppy form, erratic breathing, a loss of control. This whole system is about teaching your brain to stay calm and efficient under a load, which pushes that break point further and further back. So ultimately, this is the choice you have to make. Are you going to keep chasing exhaustion, which just leads to plateaus and injuries, or are you going to start building a machine, a calm, efficient, and resilient system? That's what gets you the competitive numbers you need. So make the choice. Build the machine. Train smart, stay consistent, and go crush your PST.